Hi. Okay, I just wanted to give you a couple of tips, but it's kind of hard to just type it all out. So if you're struggling with this time change, and we'll cover a couple of things. If you're struggling with time change and getting your kids back into a schedule, if you're dealing with issues on transitions and just meltdowns, here are a couple of things that you can try, and just know you're not the only one dealing with this. There are a lot of parents who have brought this up lately. So time changes are hard. They're hard on us. They're hard on your kids. The best thing you can do is to keep a steady routine. Something that's predictable for the kids. So because it works for us at school here. We have playtime around the same time every day. We go on the playground around the same time every day, and we have snack at around the same time every day. It doesn't even have to be at the same time, but in the same routine. So the routine is the biggest part. So as you're dealing with this transition of daylight savings, as long as you're keeping the same routine, it will be easier on you. And I know it's hard. It's hard to kind of establish that that routine for your kids. It took me a while to figure it out with my own kids on what would work with my schedule and what they needed. But once you get into that flow, you do find that you have a lot fewer meltdowns and a lot fewer fights about the transitions that you have, because they know what's coming up and they know when they have something, like when they have dinner, then they have bath time, and then after bath time, then they have reading, and then they have nap or a time for sleep. So it kind of all goes together. So decide for your family what works for you. Sometimes it's impossible to have the same routine, but even if you give your kids their own calendar, go to the Dollar Tree, let them, have their own calendar, and they can see on Wednesdays. Like for us, every Tuesday and every Thursday is dance. So even though my kids are older, they know, okay, on Tuesdays and on Thursdays, we're eating late or we're having some leftovers. And, that's just what we could do with our family. So come up with your own routine that works for you. And then to help with the transitions of your evening or morning, because mornings are hard for kids to wake up. But if they can do the same things over and over, it becomes better for them. So set a timer. Let the timer be the bad guy. If you are getting ready for, if it's time to brush your teeth, you tell the kids, okay, I'm setting the timer, and show them on I get the annoying little wind up timers that you get, like egg timers, that ring loud. I especially used to do that with my kids when they were little, because then the timer was the bad guy. So that's maybe the harsh way to say it. But it wasn't me saying, okay, it's time to clean up. It was the timer saying, time's up. You have to stop what you're doing and you have to clean up. And the kids, would complain, I don't want to stop. And it's like, I know, but the timer went off, sorry. So that's my, that's my gift to you, is let something else be the bad guy. It's okay. But even if your kid is the kind of kid who needs control over the situation, sometimes it's the kids, like nobody wants to, if you're in the middle of doing your favorite project, like I like to paint, if somebody just walked up and said, okay, your time's up, you're done, get out, I would be a little irritated. But if somebody came and told me, okay, finish up what you're doing, you've got 5 minutes, and then do a countdown in 4 minutes, I wouldn't do it every single minute, but okay, in 2 minutes, it's gonna be time's up, so you can keep playing, but finish up. Letting your kids know that the end is coming, but it's not right now. They have a little bit of control, and tell them, you can keep playing, but finish up. So it leaves the ball in their court, except that the only thing you know that's going to happen is when time's up, and you just tell them, "Oh, I'm sorry, time is up. Remember, we counted down." Sometimes kids need to be coaxed into that, but be consistent with it too, because if you give up too quickly or too easily and you just give in, you're really actually setting yourself up for the next time. So when you think you really mean it the next time, your child is thinking, last time I just had to scream a little bit and I got my way. Or last time I only had to scream for a long time and I got my way. And it's really hard. It's hard to stick it out. But if you can stick it out and really follow through with what you say, then your life will get easier. I promise. It doesn't last forever. So a couple other things that can help with transition. Allow your child to set the timer. If your child really wants control, then you can start with this. You say, okay, in 5 minutes, it's time to clean up. I'm going to set the timer. If your child immediately shouts, no, then you say, okay, would you like to set the timer for 5 minutes, or would you like me to set the timer for 5 minutes? Sometimes that's just enough for your child to take the control and set the timer himself or herself. And then once they set that timer, then you can have them go back and look and see. And I like the loud timers just because it like clicks down, so the child has that sound. Keep that timer near the child, and as they're finishing up, just so that they know that they are on a time limit now. And give your child an order of events. Not too many. You don't want to talk too much at them, but just tell them, okay, in 5 minutes we're going to clean up, and then after that we're going to go get ready for the bath. And then if they fight you on the bath, do you want to help turn the water on, or do you want me to do it for you? Do you want help getting into the bath, or can you step in yourself? Do you want to pick which toy goes in the bath? Do you want me to do that for you? So that's just one example. I use the same line for everything. I'm the fit person at school, so when someone's having a fit, we usually will take a walk or calm down in some way. And especially once I get to know the child, the best thing you can do is just give them a little control over the situation. They're trying to figure this life out, and some of them are very headstrong, and that's awesome. They're going to be great leaders, but right now we need them to just get into the bathtub. So let them have their control, but the goal is they can choose how they do the task, how they accomplish the task. They don't get to choose that they accomplish the task. So you're gonna take a bath. You can choose how we get there, but you're gonna take the bath. So, and you don't even have to tell them you're gonna take the bath, because then that takes away a little bit of their feeling of control. But you just use phrases like, do you want to walk on your own, or do you want to hold my hand? Should we stomp to the bathroom, or should we tiptoe? And you make it fun, you make it a game, but don't be afraid to make that decision. And for the really, really stubborn ones that don't want to budge, I will tell them, I'm counting to 3. And when I get to 3, if you haven't made a decision, I'm going to make it for you. So are you going to walk, or are you gonna tiptoe to the bathroom? I'm counting to 3. If you don't choose, I'm gonna choose which we do. And then you count it down. And if at 3 they don't choose, then you choose for them. And it's okay to say, I'm choosing, we're stomping, let's go, and stomp your way there. But it does, if you stick with it, they will know you mean business after a while. And it's just guiding what they need to do. And then for those who are having a meltdown, so some of the things that they need to do or some of the tricks I've learned. I'm sorry, I keep tripping over my words. I'm just tired today because of the time change. But so there are a couple of tricks that we can do to help them reset. One of them is tell them, it's okay. I know you're having a meltdown. It's okay. I love you. When you're ready for a hug, come get a hug. And let them go sit off by themselves. If that's not an option, then, you can kind of ask them, do you need space or do you need a hug? Sometimes they'll tell you, like I'll even ask the kids here, are you okay or do you need a hug? And sometimes they just are tired and they need a hug and they can't tell you what is wrong because they're just feeling emotions, and that's it. That's okay. That's part of their process. Some kids are having a fit because they need the control, so hopefully giving them some control will help. Sometimes they just hit that overload of emotion. They have hit the meltdown and they just need the reset button. So rocking is really good for the kids. If they're having a meltdown, I will take them to the nursery and rock with them. So if you need to just give them a good squeeze and give them a little bit of a rock, just like you would a crying baby, do that. Have them give themselves a big hug. Tell them, okay, I need you to reach across and give yourself a big hug. Squeeze, 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 and give themselves a big hug. Have them cross their legs. Give your legs a hug. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Actually doing that, crossing one area of the body over the next, helps the brain to reset, to reconnect. It's called crossing the planes. You're crossing the planes and you're giving it resets the brain. I don't know how it all works, but I do know that it helps. So I'll give you my tricks. And something that also helps is if there's a lot of frustration and anger going on at the moment, put a couple of dots on the wall or give them a spot on the wall and tell them, push that wall, push it hard. I want you to put your hands on the wall, push it. And the whole idea is just putting force into the wall, giving them somewhere to put that, because they're not allowed to hit, they're not allowed to kick, they're not allowed to hurt themselves or anybody else, but they can push a wall. Or they can squeeze, we have like little squeeze toys or fuzzy toys that they can just squeeze. They're not allowed to squeeze an animal. They're not allowed to squeeze a sibling. They can't squeeze themselves unless it's a big hug. So they can squeeze something and say, I'm so frustrated. That's the first step in just putting that energy into something else and not into something that's going to hurt them. And then if they're just really, that's not helping, some kids are kind of resistant to push the wall. That's okay. They can do push-ups or do something physical, start jumping, but I don't like the tantrum jumping, but even just doing some jumping jacks or, doing deep breaths. The deep breathing does help. And then the other thing that you can do, give them something heavy to hold, a heavy book, couple of heavy books. Have them use those muscles and ask them, can you do me a favor? It's okay if you're screaming or if you're mad. I understand. But can you take these to the other room with me? I need some help. Just having them change what they're doing and holding something heavy and doing something physical actually helps to reset their brain also. And then later, talk to them. Say, hey, why were you having a fit? How come you're having a fit? How can I help you? And talk them through it. So it's not just enough to have the fit, but later, let's talk about it when you're feeling calm. And what was bothering you? And then that will give you some clue as to what sets them off so that you can kind of work with your kids to eliminate those stresses that are happening for them. Come contact me anytime you have questions. I don't have all the answers. I have a lot of trial and errors. And what I do is I do try to get to know your child and what works for them. So I will let you know whatever tips I have. They're not secrets. I want you to be as successful with these transitions as I am, Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if we're doing the same thing, even, that helps. The consistency helps. So they know they're not going to get away with it at school and they're not going to get away with it at home. So hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Bye.